Welcome to the Dad Code Podcast, where real dads come for real talk and no BS. We are your hosts, Blake Melton and Bradley Newberry. Good afternoon, Bradley.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Mondays. Today is the first episode of DDS, Dads Discussing Sports.
Boom, a new show for the Dad Code Podcast. So yeah, this is new for us. We're going to be discussing what teams we follow, what sports we follow, maybe what sports that we want to learn a little bit more about, and kind of what all this show is going to be about every week.
Yeah, we love sports, so we'll try to recap some of the highlights that we witnessed over the weekends to come. And throughout the segments, you'll get to learn a little bit more about who we follow, why we follow them, and some of our favorite memories as sports fans throughout the years.
Absolutely. And with that, we're just going to jump right in to the teams that we follow. Let's see. Let's start with college football. We'll just start with college football.
Go with college football. Big here in the South.
Absolutely. Southeast, SEC.
SEC country.
Yep, absolutely. So we have a bit of a divide here on this table between the two of us. I follow the University of Tennessee in most sports. There are some sports that I follow. Actually, my alma mater, University of Memphis. But for the most part, I follow the University of Tennessee, football, baseball, some basketball, heck, even the golf team every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah. So why don't you go ahead and lay on us what it is. Yeah, I'm calling it a what.
So I followed the University of Florida Gators. This has been instilled in me since I was very young. My grandparents are from Valdosta, Georgia, so all I grew up with was watching Florida Gator football or Florida State Seminoles, and I learned quickly I don't like Florida State. So
yeah.
And I kind of thought Gators were cool when I was young, so it was kind of easy to pick. Now, naturally, with this born and raised here in Middle Tennessee, I am the villain. And you'll hear I'm even more villain with my professional football team. But I don't mind taking on that role. Just like when we were playing sports, I kind of got some juice, kind of got some energy when the crowd was against me.
Yeah, you're gonna. The more you learn about Bradley, you know that he embellishes, or he just loves being the villain.
I feed off of this
stuff. Just gives him all kinds of trash to talk because University of Tennessee can never seem to beat the Gators, even when they might be better on paper. There's just something there. I'm sure we'll be talking rivalries as we get deeper into the fall.
Well, it's funny, he mentions the word rivalries. I've told him, along with many other UT fans out there, this is no longer a rivalry.
Here we go.
In a rivalry, you have to have both teams winning. And it seems like there's only been one team winning. I don't know. I want the game to be better, but
the problem
it hasn't been. Something's up in Knoxville.
Something's been up in Knoxville for a long time, and we're going to try not to get too granular today because we really just kind of want to explain what we're going to be discussing, why we're discussing it, and kind of a 60,000-foot view of everything that we're going to be doing. These are going to be a little bit shorter podcasts. They'll probably be between 10 and 15 minutes. Some quick bits for you guys to consume there. All right, college.
So that's college?
College.
UT in Florida?
Yeah, and it's pretty standard across the board as far as sports go for that. So we'll go to the NFL next. NFL. Go ahead and tell them.
Is there any question?
Get the giant elephant in the room.
You have the hat. You have the helmet. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's the one. He is the Jacksonville Jaguars fan. The only one.
That is the team that the only NFL team that I follow. I am a fan of the NFL in whole.
You said in whole.
In whole. But I have followed this team since they became a team in 1995. Again, this kind of goes off of the roots of Florida Gators because that's all I knew. We watched teams from afar growing up Tennessee did not have professional sports here, so we would get the game of the week, Dallas, Atlanta, Washington. I didn't make a personal connection with any of those teams, so
it's difficult. It's difficult for people who don't have professional sports in their state to be able to actually, like, you get that personal connection because. Yeah. I mean, I was the same way until the Titans came because I support the Tennessee Titans. I have since they got here, but before that, I mean, I was a Packers guy.
Yeah,
I was all about Packers. I mean, and we don't live anywhere near Green Bay, Wisconsin.
No. Cheeseheads.
So, but yeah, you're right. You got the game of the week. You know, we might get a Falcons game because we're kind of close to that market, or we might get everybody gets the Cowboys, which, you know, my wife is a Cowboys fan, but I'm so you kind of get a Cowboy hangover, you know, after a while, after having to consume so much of it all the time, because it just seems like they're always the game of the week.
Do you want to guess who my favorite Cowboy of all time is? Remember what you know, Florida Gator fan.
I don't know.
Running back, Hall of Fame running back, Emmitt Smith.
Should have known that.
My favorite Cowboy of all time.
Yeah, well, that's a good one to follow. He was one of the good ones.
He was a good guy.
He is. He's just a stand-up guy all the way around.
So that's our NFL story.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we're going to be doing a lot of rivalry talk. I have a feeling on Mondays here.
It allows for good banter,
and particularly with our NFL teams being in the same division. You know, we're going to have at least a couple times a year. We're going to be talking some smack.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be very much to talk about positively with my team. My team's very young, and the hope is there. But going into this season with no expectations, I think is the safe way to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, that and Derrick Henry just loves playing the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And Julio Jones.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Julio.
We'll talk about the Titans again.
Yeah.
But what about baseball? What did we grow up with baseball?
So, first off, baseball is my favorite sport of all time. It's what I grew up playing. I played a little college ball, played at a high level in high school and things like that. I mean, my summers were consumed with baseball. So that's really something that I love talking about. And I can't wait to talk about things like how has the game changed since we played, and how it's driven by analytics now, and not so much.
I love stats.
Oh, this guy! He's gonna pull out his spiral notebook, I'm sure, during that once we start talking about stats.
Or I might try to act like little Logan and come up with some stats.
You never know.
My head.
We might be getting the old Music City Sports Report might be coming in here. I think that's what it's called. God, I hope that's what it's called. Otherwise, I just plug somebody else's thing.
Who did you grow up with? Was there a teams? Do you still even watch it today?
Again, you know, this is another example. You know, when there's no professional team in your state or anywhere really close, you know, you kind of you either go with your regional market or you attach to something on a national level. So, you know, growing up, I was a big Braves fan. You know, I mean, they were in the early and mid 90s, they were the team, basically. It was, you know, the Braves in the National League and the Yankees in the American League, and it was always, you know, they're gonna play each other, or the Twins. The Twins were in there for a while.
Remember Cleveland had a run?
Indians? Absolutely. And so, yeah, growing up, I was a Braves fan. I still follow them to some extent. The biggest problem I have with the Braves right now is I feel like they've turned into one of those teams that they're there for a while. Now it may be a little different. There for a while, it was like they kept them for a year and then they traded them.
Yeah.
But now it almost feels like maybe they're trying to develop more players within their system, which I'm a fan of. But now, starting in about middle school, I started to follow the Boston Red Sox. So
they were hot.
I started to, whenever Atlanta started trading away all the players that I grew up with, I was like, man, what are they doing? I don't like this. So I was just like, to hell with them. I'm going to find me another team. So, you know, because I like the history of the game, and you know, it's hard to find you can count on probably a couple fingers how many teams are more historical than the Boston Red Sox.
Chicago Cubs,
Exactly.
New York Yankees,
Exactly.
Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean,
Giants.
there's
There's
one
just a
hand
handful.
there. So that's me right now. I still follow the Red Sox. Baseball in general is hard to follow these days.
It is.
But yeah, that's my team.
So mine grew up as a Braves fan. Still is the regional team. I've stuck with it. The way that I follow baseball now, believe it or not, is through fantasy baseball.
Mm-hmm. I think it's for a lot of people with a lot of sports.
I can't tell you the last time that I watched a full game on TV because I don't know. I love going to games. We get to sit outside with your family, eat, drink.
It's hard to follow the TV schedules.
That's different.
I don't even know what they are anymore. The thing about the Braves, it was always easy because TBS, you were going to turn it on every night, and it was going to be there. I'm not sure that that's the case anymore. I have no idea. I mean,
Fox
WGN, you'd get the Cubs,
Yeah.
or sometimes you get the White Sox, but
that's who I grew up with. I've got some interesting stories around the team. There was one point in my life that I got to meet Atlanta Braves and Baseball Hall of Famer Hank Aaron. But we'll touch more into that later. But Braves only in Major League Baseball, and then the way that I follow and keep up to date with who's even in the league is fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
Hockey?
Yep. Well, no surprise here. We both live in Middle Tennessee, just south of Nashville, so we are Nashville Predator fans.
Both Preds fans. I mean, this is 100% because, remember, I'm drawing my ties from Florida, and there was nothing there, nothing regionally in Florida for me to latch on to as far as hockey goes. So it's 100% Nashville Predators. And believe it or not growing up around that sport or watching it ever, I love it, man. Going to the game live
it is one of
the best.
I think it's the best viewing experience for just the lay sports fan, maybe even the novice sports fan. You don't even have to really know what's going on, because that was what got me. Is I went to a game and honestly I don't know the rules that well. I'm still kind of learning, but it's they put on such a good show. There's not a lot of downtime. They don't do 20-minute halftime shows or anything like that. It's 3 quick periods, or 3 periods with a quick break in between. And man, they know how to build an atmosphere.
They just keep you engaged.
Because there's a lot of people that say the NHL has the best product as far as to be able to put it in front of people compared to all the other sports. But yeah, huge Nashville Predator fans. Like I said, we don't know everything about the sport as far as the nuances, but we're learning, and luckily we have a pretty good team to follow.
Yeah. We also, as you know, may have seen at the Dad Code channel, into golf.
Yeah, absolutely. Our Fairways and Lies shenanigans are all on the YouTube channel, the Dad Code YouTube channel. We actually have a Twitter account dedicated to that as well. It's B&B Golf TN.
B&B Golf TN at Twitter.
And so we actually never really played golf until we were both out of college.
I was out of college.
And
I thought it was a stupid sport, a stupid hobby.
It became a quick obsession.
Because we were both busy doing baseball. Yeah. Totally different.
Yeah, and I think really what it came down to is we were so bad at it when we started. And anything to do with hitting a projectile into downrange that we're bad at, I don't think we could accept it. I think that's really what got us into it, because it is such a difficult sport, but in my opinion, it teaches you so much about yourself, and that's really what I love about it. And I like watching these professional golfers go through all those similar processes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I follow. I don't particularly follow any specific golfer. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tiger Woods was my guy, but I'm not so sure that guy's playing golf ever again for money anyway. So yeah,
Tiger Woods, if you happened upon this video, you're welcome to hit us up at Fairways and Lies.
Yeah, man.
I'll pay for your round, bud.
Absolutely. We got you, brah. You could probably still beat us with one leg. But yeah, so that's really kind of the 60,000 foot view of what our show is going to be about here.
That's a little bit about us. Thank you for giving us a chance to talk about who we grew up with, the sports teams that we follow. But overall in this segment, we'll give you a little weekend rundown and maybe highlight some of our personal experiences from the previous week with sports.
Absolutely. And don't forget to check us out tomorrow, because we'll be starting another new segment that's actually a spinoff of our Dad Code podcast. It's the Hey Dad Tuesday that we're going to start implementing here, where we're going to read questions from the internet and from our listeners and kind of give a first-person reaction to how we would handle this situation. That's maybe if one of our kids or one of our buddies ask us this question in particular. So,
well, thank you so much for hitting play on the very first Dad Code Presents.
Absolutely.
DDS.
You guys take care.
Dads Discussing Sports.
Boom.